Hey everyone, Irix Guy here. Wanted to provide a real-time example of a stock, uh, how it looks within level two. Level two, also known as L2 or market depth. Now, this is my lunch hour, so it's you can see a lot of activity. Typically, stocks that have heavy buying interest for whatever reason. Lunch is a good time to see everything in action. So that's why I wanted to present this video. Now, people on YouTube have asked me a lot of questions, and I appreciate that. And I wanted to provide a visual example of how this works. So looking here on the left side, you're seeing the bid side. So if you're looking at a traditional stock quote, this would be the bid. On the right side, you're seeing the ask. So in a traditional stock quote, this would be the ask. Now, all of these MPIDs, these are market makers. Now, market makers are financial institutions that in essence make the market. You can do a Google search and you can see what each one of these MPIDs is associated with, the company name, the financial institution. And I'm not going to go into that, but I will tell you that NITE, N-I-T-E, as an example, is NITE Securities. And you can look all of these up. And if you want to do some research, I know there's a lot of traders that, based upon market makers that are on a particular penny stock, they feel that they can provide clues as to what the stock might be about to do because of the market makers' past history with stocks that they get involved with. But as we can see here, this one is already down ticked on the ask to below 5 cents, and also on the bid. Now, looking at the bid and the ask, one might say that there's not a big bid and ask spread. And the reason being is that the ask is .0499 and the bid is .0496. That's a reassuring feeling, especially for a day trader that might be looking to quickly enter and quickly exit a position if it doesn't perform as they expect. And of course, with these penny stocks, there's of course no guarantees. This bid could go down to nothing in no time. For a stock over in the multi-penny range, that's somewhat improbable, but anything can happen. Looking at the bottom down here, you're seeing the time and sales. The time and sales is another component of level 2 quotes. You can see this right here, the size. Those are the size orders that are going through. So what just kicked off was 25,000 shares at a price of .047, and now we've got another one coming in, 5,000 shares at .0481. That .0481, and see, it's just continuing. I mean, people are gobbling this company up. This company is just an example. I haven't done my due diligence on this company. I know nothing about this company. This is not a recommendation to buy this company or any other security for that matter. I'm just using it as an example. I was looking for volume active penny stocks for today's date, and this one popped up, and I wanted to use it as the example for this video. So you can see now we're on the ask, we're at .0481. So if we wanted to purchase it, we expect to probably be able to get it for that. And when you see the some other terms that might pop up when you're on forums, and I use forums over and over because a lot of penny stock traders hang out on forums. But people might say there's good bid support. I would say there's good bid support at .047 cents, and the reason being is that these size here, these are the size blocks of shares that these market makers are trying that they would be willing to purchase from someone that holds these shares. So there's 65,000, 70,000, 75, around 80,000 shares at or above .047, and then you get down to the .046 range, and you can scroll down further here, and you can see there's even some market makers really low at .0325. So for example, this market maker MPID ASCM, they wouldn't even be interested in entertaining these shares unless it possibly tanked to that. Now that market maker just dropped off, the one we were just looking at the bottom. Market makers are constantly changing their opinions. Now you see he's back on. ASCM market makers back on at .0325. So there's some of these market makers that want to gobble these shares up right now. There's some of them that want to try to unload their shares. So they're selling at the ask over here currently at .0468. Again, the top price that you see on the ask and the bid, that's what you're going to see on a standard stock quote. The size, again, the size thing right here, that's 5,000 shares at that. So what we would expect to see, and there's 3 market makers at the same price of .0468. So if 15,000, or actually now 20,000 shares or more were purchased at that ask price, then we would likely expect to see it uptick to .047, which is the next highest price on the ask, and that's currently Knight, market maker Knight, that has that's willing to sell their shares at .047. So on the ask side of the L2 fence, it's always going to be the lowest price that appears. And on the bid side of the fence, it's always going to be the highest price that appears. And when I say appears, that means what will appear on a standard stock quote that everyone can see. But level 2, you don't have to be an expert to use it. I personally would recommend learning more about the stock market in general first before hopping right into level 2. Level 2 is a great tool once you become confident with your penny stock trading abilities. And you know what? You may even want to start out with it initially. Now, most people, there are several providers of level 2. Some brokerages provide it for free, depending upon your account value. There are some places that may offer free L2 quote service. I'm not really sure who might do that, but what I would recommend doing if you're interested in level 2, I would first call your online brokerage and ask if they have the service, and if so, do you qualify for it? And if so, does their level 2 service list all of the OTC securities? Because something that, and it may not be as prevalent nowadays as it was in the past, but in the past, a lot of these L2 services, they did not include the OTC markets, so you didn't get your pink sheets or anything. I mean, it was pretty much just big boards, and of course for a penny stock trader, that level 2 service would not be of value. So make sure that if you do get it, that you're confident that it includes all the OTC securities as well. This particular example that we're looking at here, it's a let me see which classification it is. I mean, I know it's OTC, but I don't know. Let me see which tier. Yeah, so this is an OTC QB. OTC QB is the middle tier of OTC markets. QX is the top. Then there's QB, and then there's pink, also known as your pink sheets. So really cool, and you can see since we've started this tutorial, you can see how everything's constantly changing. And all of those, all of the realignments that the market makers are making on both the bid and the ask side, that's of course directly influenced by the volume. And you can see the volume here. You can see a real-time representation of every single trade that's going through. So it's, if you like flashing things and you like you like more, I mean, it's eye candy because it's fun to watch all of this. It's kind of like a slot machine, you know. You got all those things spinning around. It's kind of neat to look at. It's the same type thing with this, except this provides the experienced day traders with a more in-depth view of where a stock might be headed. So I would, where I am now with penny stocks, I would never discontinue. I would never trade them without having access to level 2, just because you never know what's going on behind the scenes unless you have it. A few other things, and I'm just trying to address all the questions that people brought up to me on YouTube. If they say and I don't know if I've already said this, but they say the ask is thin to .044, then it would be, because right here you see there's only 5,000 shares. Well, now there's 15,000 until it upticks to .044. And then if you say the bid is building, what that means is that you're getting more market makers on the bid side. So not just one market maker at .0435. Well, that's what we currently have, but if another one popped up at .0435, then the phrase the bid is building would be applicable. And as far as bid support, you can see there's a lot of bid support at 4 cents and above. I mean, abundance of market makers, abundance of shares. So a lot of bid support there. What else? Well, that's about it. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, this is not considered a recommendation to buy or sell a security. It's just for entertainment purposes only. And have a good one.